Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the anomalous readings on her quantum interference detector for the third time that night. The patterns didn't make sense. They suggested the presence of advanced observation equipment in Earth's orbit, but nothing showed up on conventional radar or telescopes. After 20 years at SETI, she learned to trust her instincts, and right now, they were screaming that something wasn't right. "James, can you verify these readings?" She called to her colleague, Dr. James Okonjo, who was busy calibrating equipment across the lab. The Nigerian physicist had been her research partner for the past 5 years, and his expertise in quantum mechanics had proven invaluable. "Coming," he replied, setting down his tools and walking over. His eyes widened as he studied the data. "These patterns, they're unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if something is actively trying to hide from our detection methods." Sarah nodded grimly. "Exactly. And whatever it is, it's been there for a long time. Look at the temporal signature. It suggests decades of continuous observation." The implications were staggering. If their findings were correct, Earth had been under surveillance by an advanced alien civilization for longer than either scientist had been alive. The question was, why? Over the next few weeks, Sarah and James worked tirelessly to refine their detection methods. They brought in Dr. Maya Patel, a brilliant computer scientist specializing in pattern recognition, to help analyze the data. Together, they began to uncover a disturbing truth. "The surveillance network is massive," Maya explained during one of their late-night sessions. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she pulled up a holographic display of Earth's orbit. Red dots appeared, showing the locations of the alien observation posts they detected. "They've got coverage of every major population center, military installation, and research facility on the planet. But why haven't they made contact?" James wondered aloud, rubbing his tired eyes. "If they've been watching us this long, why stay hidden?" Sarah had been pondering the same question. Maybe they don't think we're ready, or maybe they're waiting for something specific. Their breakthrough came unexpectedly. Maya had written an algorithm to analyze historical data, looking for patterns in the alien surveillance network's behavior. What she found changed everything. "Look at this," she said one morning, her voice tight with excitement. "Every time we've made a major technological advancement, there's been a corresponding shift in their observation patterns. They increased surveillance after our first nuclear tests, the moon landing, and the development of quantum computing. They're monitoring our progress," Sarah realized, like scientists observing a specimen in a lab. The truth hit them like a physical blow. Earth wasn't just being watched. It was being studied, categorized, and possibly controlled. The implications were both fascinating and terrifying. James leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "We need to take this to the International Science Council, but we'll need more than just data. We need a plan." Sarah agreed, but she also knew they had to be careful. If they were being watched this closely, any obvious reaction to their discovery could alert their observers. They needed to find a way to communicate and coordinate a response without tipping their hand. Maya suddenly sat up straight, her eyes bright with inspiration. "What if we could use their own surveillance network against them? If we can detect them, maybe we can also analyze their technology, understand how it works." It was a bold idea, but it made sense. They had already proven they could detect the alien observation posts. With more refined instruments and careful study, they might be able to learn more about their watchers. Over the next few months, the team expanded carefully, bringing in experts from various fields while maintaining absolute secrecy. They called it Project Lighthouse, officially a new deep space observation initiative, but in reality, a concentrated effort to understand and counter the alien surveillance network. Dr. Lai Wei, a quantum physicist from Beijing, made the next crucial discovery. "These observation posts," he explained during a secure video conference, "they're using some form of quantum entanglement for communication, but their method is inefficient compared to what we've been developing." This was unexpected. The aliens clearly had incredibly advanced technology. Their ability to remain hidden for so long proved that. But in this one area, human innovation might actually have an advantage. Sarah remembered something her mentor had once told her. Sometimes, being the underdog forces you to find better solutions. Perhaps that's what had happened here. The aliens, with their advanced technology, had never needed to optimize their quantum communication methods. Humans, working with more limited resources, had been forced to innovate. As they dug deeper, more surprises emerged. The alien surveillance network wasn't just observing. It was actively suppressing certain types of technological development. Subtle energy fields deployed around research facilities made some experiments fail inexplicably. Quantum fluctuations interfered with promising new technologies. "They're not just watching us," Sarah announced during an emergency meeting of their core team. "They're holding us back, keeping us at a certain level of development." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's scientific progress, which they had been so proud of, had been carefully managed and controlled by an unseen hand. The question was, what were they going to do about it? "We have an advantage they don't know about," Maya pointed out. "They think their surveillance is still secret. And thanks to Dr. Lee's discovery, we know our quantum communication technology might actually be superior to theirs in some ways." James nodded slowly, a plan forming in his mind. "So we use that. We build a parallel communication network using our quantum technology, something they can't detect or intercept." "And then?" Maya asked. Sarah stood up, her decision made. "Then we do what humanity does best. We innovate, we adapt, and we prove them wrong. They think we're not ready for contact. Let's show them just how ready we are." As the team dispersed to begin their work, Sarah looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, invisible to the naked eye, their silent watchers continued their surveillance, unaware that their subjects had discovered them, unaware that humanity was about to change the rules of the game. Project Lighthouse was just the beginning. The real challenge, and humanity's true test, was yet to come. The underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity. 3 months had passed since the discovery of the alien surveillance network, and Project Lighthouse had evolved into something far more ambitious. Deep within the facility's quantum-shielded walls, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a holographic display, watching as lines of code flowed across multiple screens. "Neural pathway optimization complete," announced ORACLE, its voice resonating through the chamber. The AI system they'd developed wasn't just advanced. It was something entirely new, built from the ground up to think in ways that alien observers wouldn't recognize as artificial intelligence. "Run the simulation again," Maya instructed, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Focus on predicting their response patterns to technological anomalies." The display shifted, showing a complex web of probable reactions based on decades of analyzed surveillance data. ORACLE had done what no human could. It had learned to think like their watchers, to predict their behaviors and blind spots. Dr. James Okonjo entered the chamber, carrying fresh data from their global sensor network. "The Concordat's observation posts are still following their regular patterns. They haven't detected anything unusual." "Good," Maya replied, not taking her eyes off the display. "ORACLE's quantum camouflage algorithms are working. As far as they can tell, we're still just fumbling around with basic AI research." The truth was far more sophisticated. ORACLE wasn't just an artificial intelligence. It was humanity's secret weapon. Built using principles derived from studying the aliens' own technology, it operated in ways that their surveillance couldn't detect or comprehend. Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum-encrypted communication system. "Maya, we've got something interesting from the Asian Research Hub. The Concordat suppressors failed to detect a quantum tunneling experiment in Osaka." This was exactly what they'd been waiting for. ORACLE had predicted that the alien suppression technology had fundamental limitations, gaps in their understanding that humanity could exploit. The successful experiment in Osaka proved the AI's predictions correct. Their technology is more rigid than we thought, James observed, studying the data. They rely too heavily on established patterns. They don't expect us to think outside their framework. Maya nodded. That's our advantage. ORACLE doesn't think like them, or like us. It finds paths they can't imagine. The AI's development had been a carefully orchestrated dance of innovation and misdirection. While the Concordat watched for traditional signs of AI advancement, increased computing power, new algorithms, improved machine learning, humanity had taken a different approach entirely. ORACLE's true nature lay in its quantum architecture. Instead of traditional binary computing, it operated on principles inspired by human consciousness itself, a chaotic, creative system that the aliens' rigid monitoring protocols couldn't properly analyze. Dr. Lai Wei's voice joined the conversation from Beijing. The quantum network is expanding as planned. We've successfully linked 20 major research facilities without triggering their detection systems. This was another crucial piece of the puzzle. Using their advanced quantum communication technology, humanity was building a hidden network of research and development facilities. Each one appeared innocent to the Concordat surveillance, but together they formed a technological resistance movement unlike anything Earth had seen before. "Show me the latest predictions," Sarah requested. The holographic display shifted again, revealing ORACLE's analysis of possible futures. The AI had run billions of simulations, mapping out the most likely paths to success. There, Maya pointed to a particular branch of possibilities. ORACLE predicts a 78% chance that the Concordat will be forced to reveal themselves within the next 6 months if we proceed with Phase 3. Phase 3 was their boldest move yet. Instead of hiding their advances, they would make them impossible to ignore, but in ways the Concordat couldn't counter without exposing their own presence. The quantum tunneling breakthrough in Osaka was just the beginning, James explained, pulling up additional data. ORACLE has identified 17 other areas where their suppression technology is vulnerable. If we push development in all these areas simultaneously, they'll have to choose between maintaining their cover and preventing our advancement. Sarah finished. Either way, we win. The team had learned much about their watchers through ORACLE's analysis. The Concordat wasn't evil. They were conservative, cautious, and deeply committed to maintaining their version of galactic stability. They kept younger civilizations like Earth in check because they feared the chaos of unrestricted development. But ORACLE had revealed something else. The Concordat's greatest weakness was their own success. Centuries of unchallenged dominance had made them predictable. They couldn't conceive of a species developing along paths they hadn't anticipated. Maya turned to a different display, showing the global network of research facilities now connected through their quantum communication system. Thousands of scientists were working together in secret, their efforts coordinated by ORACLE's predictions and protected by its quantum camouflage. "We're almost ready," she announced. ORACLE has achieved 99.9% accuracy in predicting the Concordat's standard responses. We can now operate in their blind spots almost at will. The next phase would be crucial. They would need to push the boundaries of scientific development in exactly the right ways, enough to force the Concordat's hand, but not enough to trigger a hostile response. "Begin Phase 3 initialization," Maya commanded. ORACLE's displays shifted, showing the coordinated sequence of technological breakthroughs that would soon begin around the globe. Each one carefully calculated to slip through the gaps in the Concordat's suppression network. As the team watched the plans unfold, they felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. Humanity had done what the Concordat thought impossible. They had turned their observers' own rigid thinking against them. ORACLE was their proof that humanity could innovate in ways that defied alien expectations. "Remember," Sarah's voice was firm, "our goal isn't to fight them. It's to show them they're wrong about us. To prove we deserve a place at the galactic table." Maya smiled as ORACLE's predictions continued to flow across the screens. Soon, very soon, the silent watchers would learn that their subjects had outgrown their constraints. The game of observation and control was about to end, and a new chapter in human history was about to begin. The day humanity decided to shatter the illusion began like any other. In research facilities across the globe, scientists went about their usual work while the Concordats' observation posts monitored their activities with mechanical precision. But beneath this ordinary facade, everything was about to change. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the control center of the Atacama facility, watching as the final preparations were made. ORACLE's displays showed hundreds of green status indicators. Every quantum communications node was ready, every research team in position. Final systems check complete, Maya reported, her voice steady despite the tension. Quantum network synchronization at optimal levels. ORACLE confirms the Concordat surveillance patterns are unchanged. Dr. Lei. Sarah called through the quantum link. Status of the Asian facilities. All stations ready. Lai responded from Beijing. Our quantum entanglement generators are primed and waiting. The Concordat suppressors remain blind to our preparations. James spoke up from his station. African network synchronized. European and American nodes standing by. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Sarah took a deep breath. What they were about to attempt would change everything. ORACLE had predicted a 94% chance of success, but the remaining 6% held possibilities ranging from diplomatic crisis to potential military response. Begin Phase 3, she commanded. Execute quantum protocols on my mark. Across the planet, hidden quantum generators hummed to life. Each one had been carefully designed to exploit the blind spots in the Concordat suppression technology that ORACLE had identified. But their true purpose wasn't just to bypass alien control, it was to demonstrate humanity's achievement in a way that couldn't be ignored. Mark. In an instant, hundreds of quantum entanglement fields activated simultaneously. Each one alone might have been dismissed as an anomaly, but together they formed something unprecedented. A planet-wide quantum communication network that operated on principles the Concordat had never seen before. The effect was immediate. Across Earth's orbit, alien observation posts suddenly registered massive energy signatures that shouldn't have been possible according to their understanding of human technological development. They've noticed, Maya reported, watching ORACLE's prediction models update in real time. Concordat observation posts are increasing power to their sensors. They're trying to understand what we've done. But understanding wouldn't be enough. The quantum network humanity had created wasn't just advanced, it was fundamentally different from anything in the Concordat's experience. While their technology relied on rigid, hierarchical principles, humanity's network was organic, adaptable, and chaotic in ways that reflected the very nature of human consciousness. Second phase initiating, James announced. Quantum tunneling experiments activating globally. This was the masterstroke. Not only had humanity created a communication network that defied the Concordat suppression, but they were now demonstrating technology that leapfrogged centuries of controlled development. In research facilities around the world, scientists began experiments that the aliens had been carefully preventing for decades. ORACLE reports Concordat command structures are in disarray, Maya said, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. They can't decide whether to maintain their cover or intervene directly. Through the quantum network, Sarah could feel the tension building in orbit. The Concordat's observation posts were radiating energy signatures that indicated intense activity. They were facing a situation their protocols had never anticipated, a supervised species that had not only discovered their presence, but had found ways to bypass their control entirely. Preparing for broadcast, Sarah announced. The next step would force the Concordat's hand completely. Humanity wasn't just going to demonstrate their advancement. They were going to reach out directly to their watchers. Quantum channels aligned, Lai confirmed, ready to transmit on your command. Sarah nodded to Maya, who began the transmission sequence. Through their quantum network, a message began broadcasting directly to the Concordat's observation posts. It was coded in their own communication protocols, which ORACLE had deciphered through years of observation. "Greetings, members of the stellar Concordat," the message began. "Humanity is aware of your presence and your role in monitoring our development. We understand your concerns about unrestricted technological advancement. However, we believe it's time for a new approach to our relationship." The response was dramatic. Energy readings from the observation posts spiked as the aliens realized their subjects were not only addressing them directly but doing so using their own secure communication methods. "Multiple vessels decloaking in high orbit," James reported calmly. ORACLE predicts they're command ships rather than military vessels. They're following the most favorable response pattern. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Concordat was pragmatic above all else. Once they realized their system of control had been compromised, they would adapt rather than risk a confrontation they hadn't prepared for. "We're receiving a response," Maya announced, converting from their quantum protocols now. The alien message was cautious but clear. "Your development is unexpected. We request immediate consultation regarding these events." "Respond with the prepared message," Sarah instructed. "Let them know we're ready for direct diplomatic contact, but only as equals." As Maya transmitted their response, ORACLE's displays showed probability matrices shifting toward the most favorable outcomes. The AI had predicted that the Concordat, despite their power, would choose adaptation over conflict when faced with clear evidence of humanity's capabilities. "Additional vessels appearing in orbit," James reported. "They match ORACLE's predictions for a diplomatic contingent. No weapons signatures detected." Through the quantum network, Sarah could sense the activity at facilities around the world. Years of preparation were finally bearing fruit. Humanity had forced its way onto the galactic stage, not through violence or deception, but by proving they could innovate in ways the Concordat had never imagined possible. "Begin preparation for diplomatic reception," she ordered, "and send word to all facilities. Operation Looking Glass is complete. We can finally step into the light." As the team began coordinating humanity's first official contact with their former watchers, Sarah reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Concordat had sought to control humanity's development, but in doing so, they had inadvertently pushed humans to find new paths, to think in ways their rigid systems couldn't anticipate. Now, as alien ships descended through Earth's atmosphere for the first official diplomatic contact, humanity stood ready to demonstrate that they weren't just ready for galactic civilization. They were ready to help transform it into something better. The Grand Assembly Hall of the stellar Concordat buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its 1,000-year history. Representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations gathered to witness something unprecedented: the arrival of a species that had broken free of the Concordat's careful controls through sheer innovation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the center of the human delegation, flanked by Maya Patel and James Okonjo. Through their quantum network, they maintained constant contact with ORACLE's predictions while navigating the complex web of alien politics. "The Arcturus delegation is approaching," Maya murmured, consulting her quantum interface. "ORACLE suggests they're the most likely to support our proposal." The Arcturians, crystalline beings that communicated through pulses of light, had always been among the more progressive members of the Concordat. Their representative, a crystalline form that sparkled with internal lights, approached the human delegation. "Your methods are unconventional," the Arcturian transmitted, its lights forming patterns that their quantum translators rendered into speech. "You have achieved what many thought impossible." Sarah smiled diplomatically. "Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected directions. We've learned that limitations often breed innovation." The exchange was being watched carefully by other delegations. The Concordat's member species fell into roughly 3 camps: those intrigued by humanity's potential, those threatened by it, and those waiting to see which way the political winds would blow. "Your quantum communication network," The Arcturian continued, its lights pulsing with curiosity. It operates on principles we've never encountered. How did you conceive of such a system? This was the opening they've been waiting for. We'd be happy to share our insights, Sarah offered. In fact, we believe there's much we could learn from each other. The offer of technological exchange was carefully calculated. ORACLE had predicted that many concordat species had grown complacent, their development slowing under the weight of tradition and established protocols. The promise of fresh perspectives and new approaches would be difficult to resist. Across the hall, James was engaged in conversation with representatives of the Proxima Collective, a group of synthetic beings who had shown particular interest in ORACLE's unique architecture. Your AI system defies conventional classification, one of the synthetics observed, its metallic features shifting with interest. It thinks in patterns we've never observed. Because we designed it to think like us, James explained. Unpredictable, creative, always seeking new connections. We've found that the most powerful systems are those that can surprise even their creators. Meanwhile, Maya had attracted the attention of the Vega Consortium, organic beings known for their expertise in quantum mechanics. Their tentacled forms swayed with excitement as she described humanity's breakthroughs in quantum entanglement. You've achieved quantum coherence at scales we thought impossible, one of them burbled, without access to our advanced materials and technologies. Necessity breeds innovation, Maya replied. When you can't follow the established path, you're forced to find new ones. Through their quantum network, Sarah could sense the shifting dynamics in the hall. ORACLE's predictions were playing out with remarkable accuracy. The Concordat's rigid power structure was beginning to crack under the weight of new possibilities. The Syrian delegation, traditionally among the most conservative members of the Concordat, approached Sarah with an air of barely concealed agitation. Your species' development poses significant risks to galactic stability, their representative declared. The protocols exist for good reason. Sarah met their compound eyes steadily. With respect, we believe the greatest risk lies in stagnation. The universe is vast and full of unknowns. Shouldn't we face them with all the diversity of thought and approach we can muster? The argument resonated with many of the gathered species. The Concordat had achieved stability, yes, but at what cost? How many new ideas, new possibilities, had been suppressed in the name of control? We propose a new framework, Sarah announced, addressing the entire assembly. One that preserves the Concordat's goal of stable development, but embraces diversity of approach. Let each species contribute its unique perspectives and abilities. Through the quantum network, ORACLE's displays showed probability matrices shifting favorably. The AI had predicted that many species would welcome a chance to break free from the Concordat's rigid controls, if given a politically acceptable way to do so. The humans speak wisdom, the Arcturian representative declared, its crystalline form blazing with approval. We have maintained order, yes, but at the cost of potential wonders. One by one, other delegations began to signal their support. The Proxima Collective, intrigued by the possibilities of unconventional AI development. The Vega Consortium, eager to explore new approaches to quantum physics. Even some of the traditionally conservative species found themselves swayed by the promise of renewed discovery and innovation. A formal proposal will be presented to the Concordat Council, the Arcturian announced, to establish a new framework for interstellar cooperation and development. Sarah exchanged glances with her teammates. This was more than just a diplomatic victory. It was the beginning of a transformation. Humanity had not only earned its place among the stars, but was helping to reshape the very nature of galactic civilization. ORACLE predicts a 97% chance of the proposal's acceptance, Maya whispered, checking her quantum interface. The remaining opposition isn't strong enough to block it. As the assembly continued, representatives from various species approached the human delegation, eager to discuss possible collaborations and exchanges of knowledge. Each conversation revealed just how deeply the Concordat's rigid controls had affected galactic development, and how hungry many species were for change. "We didn't come here to conquer or dominate," Sarah reminded her team as they navigated the complex web of new alliances. "We came to show that there's always another way, always a new perspective to consider." Through the quantum network, they could sense the ripples of change spreading across Earth as news of their diplomatic success reached home. Humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had turned their greatest disadvantage into their greatest strength. The dance of diplomacy continued, but its rhythm had changed. The future would be built not on control and suppression, but on collaboration and the endless creativity of diverse minds working together. And it had all started because some humans had dared to think differently about the very nature of technological progress. 6 months after humanity's diplomatic breakthrough, the Great Chamber of the Concordat Council bore witness to an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from every member species filled the vast space, their attention focused on the central platform where Dr. Sarah Chen stood with delegates from 24 allied species. The quantum network that now spanned the galaxy hummed with activity, connecting minds and ideas in ways the Concordat had never imagined possible. ORACLE's predictions flowed through the network, helping guide this final push for transformation. "For 1,000 years," Sarah began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, "the Concordat has maintained stability through control. Today, we propose a different path." Behind her, the holographic display showed the results of the past 6 months of collaboration. New technologies born from the fusion of different species approaches. Scientific breakthroughs that had occurred when formerly suppressed civilizations were allowed to develop freely. Innovations that had emerged when diverse minds worked together without constraint. "The evidence is clear," the Arcturian representative added, its crystalline form pulsing with conviction. "Our old methods, while well-intentioned, have held us back. The humans have shown us another way." Maya stepped forward, activating a more detailed display of the quantum network's achievements. "In just 6 months of open collaboration, we've solved problems that have puzzled us for centuries. When we share our unique perspectives, we all grow stronger." The conservative faction of the Council, led by the Syrian delegation, had mounted fierce opposition to the proposed changes. But even they couldn't deny the results. The new quantum communication network had revolutionized interstellar travel. ORACLE's unconventional architecture had opened new frontiers in artificial intelligence. The unleashed creativity of formerly suppressed species had led to breakthroughs in energy generation, medicine, and environmental restoration. "We are not here to dismantle the Concordat," James assured the assembly, "but to help it evolve. To transform it from a system of control into a true fellowship of equals." Through the quantum network, Sarah could sense the shifting emotions in the chamber. Fear and uncertainty wrestled with hope and excitement. The old guard's resistance was crumbling in the face of undeniable progress. "Consider the Proxima Collective," Maya continued. "Since adopting principles inspired by ORACLE, they've developed new forms of synthetic consciousness that no one thought possible. The Vega Consortium's modified quantum tunneling technology has made interstellar travel safer and more efficient than ever." The evidence was compelling, but it was the next revelation that would seal their victory. Sarah nodded to Dr. Lai Wei, who activated the final presentation. "We've discovered something extraordinary," Lai announced. "The quantum network has detected signs of other civilizations beyond the Concordat's borders. Advanced species with different approaches to technology and society. We are not alone in this galaxy, and we can learn from them all." The chamber erupted in excited discussion. The Concordat had always assumed its way was the only path to advanced civilization. The existence of successful alternatives challenged everything they thought they knew. "The universe is vast and full of wonders," Sarah declared. "We can face it with fear and control, or with courage and collaboration. The choice is ours." The vote, when it came, was decisive. The old Concordat would be transformed into a new organization, the Galactic Federation of Free Peoples. Each member species would have an equal voice. Development would be guided not by restriction, but by shared wisdom and mutual support. As the assembly concluded, Sarah met with her team in a private chamber. Through their quantum link, they could sense the celebrations beginning on Earth and 100 other worlds. ORACLE predicts a 99.9% chance of successful transition, Maya reported, smiling. The remaining uncertainty comes from trying to calculate just how much we might achieve together. It's remarkable, James mused. They watched us for so long, trying to control our development. But in the end, it was their control that limited them, not us. Sarah nodded, watching through the chamber's window as ships from dozens of species moved through space in elegant patterns. The rigid formations of the old Concordat had given way to a more organic flow, much like the quantum network that now connected them all. "We did what humans do best," she said. "We looked at the rules, understood why they existed, and then found a better way, not by destroying, but by reimagining." The quantum network sparkled with activity as new connections formed between species and worlds. ORACLE's predictions showed timeline after timeline of innovation and discovery stretching into the future. The chains of control had been broken, replaced by bonds of cooperation and shared purpose. Back on Earth, in the facility beneath the Atacama Desert where it all began, a new generation of scientists prepared to join their alien colleagues in exploration and discovery. The observation posts that had once been tools of suppression now served as nodes in the galaxy-spanning quantum network, helping to coordinate the greatest collaborative effort in known history. Humanity had not only freed itself from unseen chains, it had helped forge a new future for all species. As Sarah looked out at the star-filled sky, she knew that this was just the beginning. The real adventure, the true test of what different peoples could achieve together, was just beginning. The silent watchers were silent no more, and the galaxy was better for it. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution hadn't been technological innovation or even creative problem-solving. It had been the simple yet powerful idea that the best way to face the unknown was not with control and fear, but with cooperation and hope. As new worlds joined the Federation and new discoveries illuminated the darkness between the stars, one truth became clear: the future belonged not to those who would control it, but to those who would imagine it anew together.